Okay, we're going to get started with our open mic now, if you're all ready. So, before we start, I just have a few other poetry announcements to make real quick. There's a weekly poetry open mic in town every Tuesday night. Page 2 Poetry is an all-poetry open mic every Tuesday at 8 p.m. at Cush Cafe. And then if you enjoy what we're doing here today, there is the Windfall Reading Series at the Eugene Public Library, third Tuesday of each month. Poetry for the People, a featured reading and open mic similar to what we're doing held at Connies Books on the third Saturday of each month. And the Lane Writers Reading Series on the fourth Sunday of each month at the River Road Annex. And one more, the Lane Community Writers Series on the first Thursday of the month at Lane Community College in downtown Eugene. Now, if you'd like to know more about any of these, just see me after and I'll tell you. All right, so time for the open mic. Again, please keep in mind that this is a family-friendly event. There are children present in the bookstore, so please act accordingly. We'd like to ask participants to hold their reading to 5 minutes or less. Charles, do you know how many people we got? Charles? Do you know how many people we got on the list today?
11 on the list.
11 on the list. Okay, so yeah, let's hold it.
Oh, we have a couple of... We're down to 11, yeah. Okay,
so we'll try and hold it to a tight 5 minutes each to give everyone a chance to read. If you go over, we'll ask you to stop. So please be considerate of all the readers. So I'm going to start you off tonight with one of my performance pieces. Those of you who know me know that I do my poetry with music and hand drums often as well as reading. So today I'm going to do a drum piece. And this is kind of a take on current situation, things that are happening in the world right now. It's a poem that I wrote when we took a road trip down to Sacramento, California to see my dad. So on the road I wrote this. It's called Delirium Clouds. I saw the hope of my generation strangled and crushed by greed and lust for power. Compassion for our fellow man seems vanquished in a day by the unattended sorrow of the smashing of tomorrow, of the anger and the shame that remain. Like 3 Mustangs in a Porsche roaring down the highway, snow-capped mountains crumbling at their side. Can't go fast enough to chase it away, this feeling of loss and the rapid decay of what took so long to build, of what cannot be remade in a day, of the struggle, the pain, and the heartache coming our way. Driving through delirium clouds, growing darker every day. Is it true that hope is fading, shadow walls in decay? Can you see the flames of madness, filled with sadness, filled with grief? Can you tell me what will happen? Give me some relief. Spin it now, fake the morning, kingdoms come and fame divine. Take it to the 7th wonder in another time. Calling, calling, calling now. Crawling, crawling, crawling now. Falling, 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 till we're done. Climb up to the curbside. Climb up to the dirt. It's all gone, and nobody has won. 3 Mustangs in a Porsche, roaring down the highway. Snow-capped mountains crumble at their side. Can't go fast enough to chase it away, this feeling of loss and the rapid decay of what took so long to build, of what cannot be remade in a day, of the struggle, the pain, and the heartache coming our way. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Lee Darling.
Okay, can you hear me? I hope. I just have two short ones. The first one is called When Did We Forget? When did we forget how to communicate in more than 140 characters? How to type rather than dictate? How to spell? When did we forget how to edit and proof crazily wrong words that throw us off balance or start a row? When did we forget how to address just one friend at a time? One friend who is not staring at an iPhone or iPad, not posting on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. I won't forget that message from an old friend who doesn't direct me elsewhere, who tells me how life feels right now, the message that begins with my name and ends with the word love, followed by her own cherished name. Okay, and this one's called Knock 3 Times, and I need something to beat with. Oh, never mind. We'll do it this way. This was an incident at midnight. Okay. Bam, 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 shatters my sleep. Breathless, deafened by my pounding heart, I wait. A light illumines a door in my hall, then blinks out. But now that song repeats in my head. Knock 3 times on the ceiling if you want me. Twice on the pipe if the answer is no. I find the lyrics, listen to Tony, Orlando, and Dawn, laugh at the next part. Tap, tap, tap means you'll meet me in the hallway, and I wonder who didn't show.
All right, Margaret.
Come on, Margaret!
I like trains, which is good because I live so close to the tracks. This is called Through an Open Door. The railroad crossing is all clang and clash as the train gets close. Bright eye glaring down the tracks, whistle blasting away all before it. Then the cars roar by, tall and heavy as houses, screeching metal on metal, wheels on rails around the curve. Barriers hold back traffic, but my vision goes right over, watching spray paint patterns moving too fast to read, and my soul disappears through an open boxcar door and rides toward the mountains. I'm looking for a way to follow her.
Andrew, you are up.
Hey, yeah. Wake up, everybody. Wait, no, I'm kidding. That's not good. A grape. Pinched between thumb and index, skin crushed. Yeast feasting on inner sweetness bubbling up is my heart. Crushed, threshed, and bruised my fruits. Pressed, squeezed for the essential oil. Dough, kneaded, beat, rolled, and baked, leavening in the warmth. This fullness in my heart. Breaking up the fallow ground that by long drought had hardened and cracked, now moistened, shoveled, and mixed back together, ready to harvest and thresh and distinguish the wheat from the chaff. A land that drips with honeycomb, that overflows with milk and honey, and vineyards whereby the edges are left for strangers to garner that they may eat, is my heart. The surgical steel edge circumspectly sliced the self-protective layer off from the underlying sensitivity of this throbbing heart. I walk this cathedral of flesh, pulsing each step rhythm, and vulnerably I weigh the moments passing by, counting the approaching footsteps of a skeleton to tap my shoulder. Till then, every feeling is a blessing and none to be preferred, but ooh encounters actually inside, swimming in this pool, like heart to heart, and trying to have some sliver of heart to heart every day, because that does feel better. And the Torah said on that day, no man will have to say to his neighbor, know the Lord, for all shall know him from the least unto the greatest, because the law is written on their hearts. Inscribed the signature of conscience, bespeaking something of who we are, unless we sear and silence it. For it is more than just our demons we repress. We repress our angels too. We suppress our compassion, and we suppress our general giving up when doing otherwise would make us feel too vulnerable. A chatter begins in the skull over trivialities that take us from ourselves with uncountable distractions. We lose our accountability to our noblest dreams as we drift in a sea of disillusionment. The noblest dreams, the noblest aspirations, and really everyone could tell you what some of those have been. Our visions we lose sight of, worn down by the screwed up world. Many are merely maintaining. And yet if we could resuscitate our better intuitions and dare to fall and arise indefinitely, but one way or another, pilgrim, if you pursued that pursuit, there'd be no way to get out of this world without leaving some good ripples trailing off behind you. At this point of sci-fi-like technology, basic humanity may need to be rediscovered. If there is enough time in the cool of the evening, as the sun wanes from its waxing, I'll rediscover humanity in you, and you'll rediscover humanity in me. All right.
Tara. Oh, I'm sorry. Wayne Westfall.
Out!
You may detect a little change in energy as I read my poem. This is called the Cellphone Conundrum. From my local wireless store, I bought a smarter phone, since mine was just a beastly bore that made me moan and groan. Thrilled I was with my new toy, but when I took a look, included in my box of joy, I found no learning book. An elder friend then cleared the air. With smiling voice he said, I know of no one anywhere who such a book has read. A cell phone is an awesome tool and worth its retail price. But nowhere is a cell phone school, so here is my advice. Observe the people on a street, or traveling by air, or watching strong and fast compete, or at a county fair, or at a well-heeled sporting club, or in a public square, or in a downtown crowded pub, yes, almost everywhere, and you will see that try and fail trumps books upon a shelf. And everyone, both dark and pale, is teacher of himself. You'll notice each is looking down, and young or fully grown, with face displaying smile or frown, is looking at a phone. And though it's just an old man's guess, I think the goodly share have got their phones into a mess, and maybe deep in prayer. Or calling someone on their list who has a phone like theirs, to take a moment and assist because they're out of prayers. Or just exploring one of those icons on the screen, attempting poem, math, or prose upon their small machine. It is what it is, so quit your stewing and end your futile chase. Then do as all the world is doing and try and fail, embrace. Have time for another one, or?
No, I didn't hit the start button. How long is it?
2 or 3 minutes.
We're running a little behind schedule, but
That's good.
thank you. Tara, you're next.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Nice to see everybody. Staring at my phone. I switched to keeping the poems there since they're already there. All right. Just looking for one that I'm inspired to read this evening. That was about the solar eclipse. Now my other poem, both of them relatively short, are about current events. Solar Corona. It may be the last hot morning in August, but the drum of summer will last forever. People in cars pile up in numbers. Some have children, others have wooden flutes and silver colanders on their heads. Leather fringe blows in the wind. There is a family nearby. Sometimes they laugh and sometimes they fight. It goes on like this forever. What does it symbolize? I asked a friend. Shadows. Shadows, like in the John Prine song. John is shadows. We can all see shadows if we want to. Eclipsing old patterns, seeing the end of them, watching them galloping off into the sunrise, you wish you could just plain shoot them blind. It feels as if a new year is beginning, a do-over 2017. We are all thinking the exact same thing. It feels as if a new world is awakening, with dawn and dusk colliding. A giant ring of fire, white in a black and fuchsia sky. Today is a solar corona kind of night. Put an end to all this fiery madness. Help us think clear, be clear. Help me think clear, be clear. Be human, but know the path. Put an end to all this fiery madness. Warmth on my face, cool on my face, pink on my face, angel of night on my face. I reach to make sense of the sky. We reach high, my love and I. Gravity beckons us, the people leave in drones. We are the people, don't you know? Pink eclipse, Oregon day. Others see blue and gray. I see roses, fractals, and geometry, psychedelic fields of strawberries in the sky. The roadside clears, and all that is left, the sun, the moon, you and me, the sun, the moon, and we, the earth, but differently. Thank you. October 1st, 2017. We woke on a Monday to news of our nation's largest mass shooting in recent history, the numbers towering that of Pulse nightclub and that one kindergarten class. You know the one, blood on children's books, teachers diving to save lives, sick, twisted, white. He fell between the cracks and rose up, armed and angry. It took multiple people and all of their fingers and all of their toes to measure the fatalities. It took the fluid communication of dozens of doctors and nurses, shocked, exhausted, and thundered from their sleep to confirm the heads of the dead, all innocent people, all reaching for enlightenment in the way of music and rhythm and bright lights and rocking and rolling Las Vegas, Nevada, crimson blood on bouncing curls, women's fancy hairdos upright, women's country strong bodies horizontal, else running, confused, mind churning, women and children, elders and men, dancing, swaying, shielding, ducking, mouths open in terror, eyes going in all directions, the realization of the heavy importance of those you love. I'm sorry's, I love you's, I don't understand, I do cherish you's, I'm thankful I was spared, trauma, blood, boots, question marks, a glittering Trump emblazoned in the background, a name synonymous with dollar signs and 1 million other things by this point, depending precisely on who you ask. In other news, a rock star died. In my opinion, it matters little compared with the loss of 58 lives, 500 wounded. October 1st, 17, the day 58 rock stars died, perished before they really had the chance to sing. Thank you guys so much.
Karen.
Go
get 'em.
H2O.
I'm going to take this.
Easy.
Thanks. Those who don't know me, and a number of you here don't know who I am, aside from being a rock star and all that shit, my first love was poetry. I wrote my first real poem when I was 6 years old, and it's been my career all my life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to improv, and I was moved by Tara and other people today. So give me a second to open my heart chakra. Here we go. The contagious laughing of the moon seems to glide and glitter through my mind. A lady, a goddess in silver garb, her hair a diadem of stars. She flirts with me, and I flirt back. Ah, gee, what could it be, love? I dance before the dinner table, and the chickens and the cows and the turkeys are so happy and relieved that I don't dig into their bodies and their graves. I look at the world and I seem to see some spice and sinister eyes or something. It seems to me we cruelly and unjustly treated our mother. She has fed us and clothed us from the beginning. First with leaves, then with fur of other beings, and all the plant seems to say in her labor and toil, I love you. You're my children. You're no different than any snail on the sidewalk, any bird nesting in a tree. You're no different than the squirrel who gathers acorns, or the lion who sleeps lazily underneath the savannah sun. We look at these birds and we look at these creatures and we say, I have that. I am powerful. What does that mean? The power in our hands, in our speech. Our bellies may hunger for the fire of flesh, but we're the only ones who use the fire in that way. When I look at the world and I see its men and women dressed as children, playing along the seas and shores of time, I realize we're not such a bad species, not really. Although we've corrupted and cruelly misused our privilege as the two-legged beings that we are. The gorilla, nestled in the forest, the jungle, rather, if you will. You could see his compassion for his people. The only reason I growl, I bite, because I have no other way of expressing myself. The sheer animal in me is outraged by the seasons and the cruelty that happens so often. Yes, we spill blood. This is true. I haven't known a being like myself or others in similar facsimiles, I guess. We really don't know what we're doing, do we? We don't realize that the savagery of a turkey dinner began and ended in a horrible way. We can't seem to understand that all that nestled in our hearts is a world. Oh, fire again. This is the fire of a volcano. This is the ocean of lava. This is a being who will change the world. Each and every one of us should know about ourselves. Daring to take a fixed hand and open it. Kiss the sky and thank you for all the nourishment and all the resources that we have aside from cold-blooded murder. We are creatures of love. We are inhabitants of this earth. We can't go sailing into outer space with the ingredients that we've taken so long. And although I did have whipped cream the other day, I will not judge you or me or anyone else. And I want to thank you for this thanks-taking.
Thank you, Karen. Next up, Tom Avery. Yes.
Come on, Tom.
Yeah. Since I heard that William Sullivan was going to be reading here today, I brought some mountain trail poems. Meditation of Bryce Creek. Across the footbridge, rapids undulate and slide down over stony ledges into deep green pools. A bird chirps in an afternoon melody, and the shade cools me under a canopy of old Doug fir. The light breeze blows and a raven squawks. Big black fly buzzes and a butterfly hovers. Farther up the trail, water ripples and gurgles in the shallow stream bed. A bend in the creek sings a lullaby, and old wounds open and close like shafts of light in the aged forest. On a flat boulder is a good spot to lay back and dream and take a dip in the cold, clear water. The sun sinks lower as it moves farther westward. Tall shadows follow me on the trail among the silent groves. Sunlight fades into dusk as moon's gravity pulls the currents, and white water swirls in the eddies.
Yeah.
Time for one more?
You do.
Sure. Okay. Black Butte. At the end of the trail, beyond the black burnt snags, old white bark pine vistas open up towards the top. Mount Jefferson rises into the silver clouds, its peak buried in the gray billowy mass. The craggy peaks of Three Finger Jack jut up to the west. Mount Washington stands solid and erect to the south, below a regiment of white saucer clouds. Farther on the trail to the north, the Fire Lookout Tower towers into patches of blue sky. This mountain was struck by lightning in July. Only the trees at the edge of the timberline caught fire. The rest of the subalpine forest survived. Two hawks soar across Green Ridge to the east. Chipmunks gather at my feet as I toss them some nuts and seeds from my trail mix. A gentle mountain breeze blows from the northwest. More family of chipmunks scramble over rock piles and granite boulders for scraps from my lunch. Most of the balsam root and larkspur have lost their blooms. On the way back down, I spot a lonely red Indian paintbrush, its petals pale and fading in the early autumn wind.
Oh, next up, Connie. Connie James. Thank you.
Have to get it down for me. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it seems like the audience here is dealing with the world in their own way. So I am. And I am reading a poem that I wrote after being in New York, September the 11th, 01. And I call it, it's a Hebrew word, it's Nijun, which means song. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, keep singing in my mind. I couldn't believe my eyes as a small moving object pierced the air into that magnificent architecture. Symbol of this time is crumbling, falling, humans crashing, windows breaking, steel, hidden silver, and information are being buried. Murder is in Manhattan. No spiritual practice could move me. I am numb. I'm still numb. Grief is circling. The terror begins. Destruction and death has New York City in its arms. Rescue workers begin their jobs. Firemen, doctors, nurses, hospitals, news media, all keeping people informed. My intellect begins to take over slowly. As I watch, the tingling, slowing sombers me. The chokehold turns to a chant. Head bare, unshawled, I sing. Oh, beautiful, for bruised skies, for blackened waves of earth, for ashen mountains, majesty above the wounded plains. America, America, God shed your grace on thee, and crown thy hood with loving hood, and crown thy good with loving hood, from sea to shining sea. I was there.
2 minutes, Connie.
And this is a short one.
I
Oh,
think
you can't hear me. Okay.
No, you
No,
can
you're
hear
good.
you
You're
great,
good.
but
We're
you
gonna-
can't see
we're
your
gonna lower
face.
this down.
There.
How about that?
Oh, okay. I call this Happy Birthday. I've just recently discovered for myself that life is a puzzle. And when I recognize the piece that fits, it is very assuring that I am understanding something. Each piece that fits is connecting to each other. Sometimes a part of the puzzle takes a very long time, and its process becomes work and study. Other times it comes fast, and I need afterwards to remember that it did happen. Now, the age of 40 in my generation meant midlife. That half of the puzzle is completed. That concept is changing. Age has nothing to do with it sometimes. If one needs a crisis, so be it. Blame it on turning 40. Being middle-aged doesn't have anything to do with it again. Some people try to overcome it instead of exploring it. Whatever path one takes while trying to put the puzzle together, even though the whole is greater than the sum of the parts, one needs to recognize the parts in order to see the whole. The mind, body, and spirit need to be present in order to bring that light upon this life and of your puzzle. I wish you delight in the finding, along with peace, content, and ability to allow the light to shine on your picture.
Wow, there you go. Jolly.
Connie, do you have your book with you? Can I see your book? Charles, would you care to adjust, or do I do one of these? Thank you. Well,
Such a
thank you.
diva.
Very good. I want to let you know that Connie has published her first book of poetry.
Yay!
It's a beautiful book. She's illustrated it herself. Is this available on Amazon someplace?
No, I'm hoping to have a time with it in December at on a Friday, Friday's first Friday.
Excellent.
But
Well,
I do sell them. I do sell them, and I'm looking for a place to sell them besides that.
well, the first place is right here in the front row. So, beautiful little book, great illustrations from our dear friend Connie James.
Thank you.
So I was going to read 3 of them, but I think what I'll do is try to leave you in a light-hearted mood here. Yes, we'll start with finding myself. I went on a journey to find myself. Turns out I was hiding under a rock and wouldn't come out. Had to be coaxed with coffee and cookies. I was in poor shape when I finally emerged and mighty dirty. I bit a few times during the cleaning process and had to be forcibly restrained in order to comb out some of the snarls. There's a lot yet to be done in order to bring me up to snuff, but at least progress is being made. I am amazed at how easy it was to find me. I was right there all along. And this, I seldom read the same poem twice, but people seem to enjoy this one. I was at Cush some time ago, and they had what they call guitar poets. I call them songs. And this guy came up and he said, well, I usually write cheesy love songs. And went on to write something and said, cheesy love songs. So this is a cheesy love song, all right? This is just another cheesy love song, full of dairy-centered metaphor. Not to prove the angels up above wrong, but most love songs are just a dreary bore. My darling moves me to be cheesy, making rhymes that are oh so easy. That gal can sure entice a fella, a lovely creamy mozzarella. She's a glorious womanly Amazon, spicier than the finest Parmesan. My lover likes to party hardy like a luscious smooth Havarti, and my heart knows that she's better than the sharpest Vermont cheddar. And such a glorious derriere, like rounds of beautiful Gruyere. And as for smooth, she's a female Buddha munching on the finest Gouda. I'm lucky that she likes to share that heady whiff of camembert. On weekends, I just love to get a taste of her like tangy feta. Her loving kisses set me free like hot and steamy, creamy brie. She made me blue in Monterey, Jack. But Colby said to win her back, don't need a tangy, sharp retort. No need to be like Roquefort. Just tell her that she's way more neater than a block of orange Velveeta. She's finer than fermented dairy, intense and sweet and sometimes scary. She's quite a lady, safe to say. She pleases me like curds and whey. That's why this song of love comes easy, and why these rhymes are oh so cheesy. Thank you very much. Last words, Charles?
Actually, is there a Janet?
Is there a Janet here?
Calling all Janets.
Calling all Janets. Any Janet anywhere in the store? No Janets.
No Janet?
Oh well.
All right. Go for it.
Well, I think that's about it, folks. So I want to thank you again, everyone, for coming. I hope you enjoyed our event. And as a reminder, we are here on the second Sunday of each month from 3 to 5 p.m. And we look forward to seeing you again. And again, please pick up one of our flyers over there. It has the voucher number. If you buy anything at Barnes Noble, either here or online in the next 3 days, you'll help Lane Libraries. And also on the other side of the flyer is the information on our two featured readers today, where you can get their books and help support them. So thanks again, y'all. See you next time.